to motivate myself, and then be challenged by my peers who do like 10 million thousand steps in a day, right? That's going to keep me motivated, right? So thinking about that, even for business, what are the goals and what are the obstacles? Time, staff, spouse, whatever, and what do I need to do to overcome them? So thinking about that when you think about your goals. And we want to make sure the goals are smart, and we know about them. We want to visualize them. I talked about, why it's important, but we also talk about visualization. Vision boards are great. Pictures of your goal, whatever that may be. But we all, as business owners, we want to make our business goals based on financials. That is very, who's the accountant? Woohoo, he's gonna like this part. So, I'm not going to pretend to be an accountant, but there are very important financial documents that help you make sound business decisions and sound business plans. We're mostly familiar with the income statement, the balance sheet, and the statement of cash flow. Those are three top that people look at. And you may not be the person who deals with it. Maybe you do have a great accountant that you use. But you have to become familiar on what that means for your business and what impact it has. Looking at what is most profitable, what is least profitable, and what adjustments do I need to make in 2018 and beyond in order to reach my profitability. This workshop is planning for profit, right? We have a tool that we use in our Goldman Sachs program, and we kind of, massage it a little bit. It's a financial projection tool. If anybody wants it, you can let me know, Jonathan know. We have a way so you can plan out your financial goals and projections 5 years, 10 years out. And so that way you really look at and examine your business with a fine-tuned comb. How did that help you, Jonathan, that tool?
Well, it helps you make decisions. Ideas that you want to incorporate doesn't make sense financially to do, even though you just want to do it, but maybe it's not going to, the profit margins aren't going to be quite what we imagined them to be. So
you make a decision, right? Oh, that sounds like a great idea. I'm going to do that. But you don't really know what the profit margin is. It seems like you're making money, but are you really? So Jonathan, if you want to share, he's used that tool. I know in the past 3 months, you went through your business, you told me you started looking at the cost of goods and what was least profitable, what was most profitable, and the changes that you need to make. Now, what was the one number? You saved like how much by looking at that document?
almost 10 grand.
Almost 10 grand on one line item.
In a year.
In a year.
It was three items.
Right. And so just looking at this tool, you can really start to really break down your business on a micro level to see what's profitable. And as you start to plan and make these decisions, you're able to make sound financial-based decisions because we are here to be profitable, right? Right. Anything you want to add, Mr. Accountant?
No.
So the next thing you want to be able to do is to recognize growth opportunities. I think I have that on the next page. Thinking about when you're in business for a long time, how can you maximize growth? And so we want to look at market trends, customer needs, competitors, the added abilities of your workforce. You want to look at your you want to look at your employees, and then any demographic changes. So some of you have been around for more than 20 years. You know times have changed. You know you have to be adaptable. We know technology is coming into play. So you want to be able to do that. And the way you find out is to do research. Anybody here ever been to the Civil Library? So that's a library in New York that has all these free resources. You can research any business that you're in and find out who your competitors are, what the trends are, who your customer demographics are, and you can make, again, sound business decisions based on knowledge, full knowledge, and it's free when you go to the library.
They're not online?
Then you can, if you have a library card, you can access some of them online, and you can pay for some of them. But this, if you go to a library, it's free, and then you can download it and print it out there. But you can use with the New York Public Library, which is different from, I think, Brooklyn and Queens. So just to differentiate. Any questions on that? There's a ton of different reports. And then the last section I want to cover is really looking at yourself as a leader. And emotional intelligence is a big hot topic now because studies have found that people with a higher EQ will outperform people with a higher IQ 70% of the time. You are born with an IQ that cannot change. The EQ can change. And the EQ is your emotional intelligence. And people with the higher emotional intelligence tend to earn more money. So emotional intelligence is broken down into 4 categories: self-awareness, self-regulation, self-motivation, and motivation. Having a high emotional intelligence affects your ability to communicate, to lead, to negotiate, and to sell. So you want to be able to really be aware of that. My organization, we have assessment tools that you can assess your personality and your emotional intelligence level, and we have coaching tools to help you increase it, because you can increase your emotional intelligence level. Anybody here ever hear of emotional intelligence, or anybody not hear emotional intelligence before now? Everyone has. All right, so just being aware of that.
Would it be considered street smarts? I mean,
I do think if I had to take out the vernacular, that people with those street smarts are people with high emotional intelligence. It's really your ability to really connect with people. Being self-aware and confident, what you need as a leader. Being able to self-regulate, meaning that we're stressed, right? We're working, we're busy, some of us have families, we can get irritable, frustrated, but how do you manage that when you're interacting with someone? Because if you don't self-regulate, it will derail your leadership ability with your team, and even in sales, and even with customers. So I believe that people with street smarts who become successful have a high level of emotional intelligence, absolutely. The ability to connect with people. And all of us are usually highly self-motivated as business owners, and that's why we're here. So that part is really key. And then the empathy part is your ability to really understand another person's feelings. So good question.